Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. My name's Jack, this is Jthbooks, and it is time for the November reading wrap-up. So, first things first, let's talk about the change. I have a mustache now. Okay, I have one. Is it going to stay? I don't know. Do I think it makes me look so much better and I feel like the world treats me better? Yeah. But is that just in my mind? I don't know. Sometimes I think, yeah, Jack, it looks great. And sometimes I feel, are you one of the Mario Brothers? So who knows, okay? But if you think it looks good, tell me. If you don't, stay quiet. But you're not here to talk about the mustache, are you? You're here to listen to me ramble on about other things. Books. It started off a really great reading month. As we know, I had a great October. But, you know, things got derailed. Things got a little bit derailed. Got a little bit ill. I got ill again. So that sort of slowed things down. So, yeah, it sort of wasn't a great reading month. I'm not sure there was a book I sort of had a real standout with either, but, you know, let's talk about them, shall we? Let's go through these books. So I read 7 books altogether for the month. Or actually 8. I read 7 and I listened to 1. So I read 8 books. Should we just start? I don't think I really stuck to the TBR at all. Because what was it? Big books? Nah, I did not. I did not stick to the TBR. Come on, Jack. I read one big book and it nearly destroyed me. So, right, let's go. First up, I read Flux by Jinwoo Chan. Now, this was on my 24 books for 2024. So, you know, I did myself a little bit of a favour. I did myself a little bit of a favour. And like I've said to you before, this cover just calls to me. This sort of bright yellow, I see it in my shelves. I'm like, I want you and I know you want me. But in this, we follow... Well, it's a time travel novel. So, we follow these 3 people who... Well, no, right. Spoiler. Like, it's the same person. It's the same person. I don't think it's a time travel novel. I didn't class it as that. I just sort of, you know, you get him at 3 different stages in his life. But he ends up sort of working for this company that is not what it seems. And you find him after he's left the company and the company's been taken down and he's now testifying against the company. You follow him as a young boy and you follow him working for this company. But it's not what it seems. He thinks like he's working for them, he's doing a great job, but he's actually sort of being mind controlled by them. So I guess that's sort of the sci-fi aspect. He doesn't know it's happening, but he has sort of gaps that he can't figure out, and he does eventually, and he loses his voice somehow. Anyway, I did enjoy this. It wasn't, like I said, time traveling. I didn't get it. He was just in a. You just sort of followed him in different stages of his life. I wouldn't class that as time travel, but it made it more enjoyable for me because it was time travel. I probably wouldn't have liked it that much. I gave this a 4-star. I think, yeah, it was an intriguing story. It wasn't too sci-fi-y, so it was, you know, you could follow it along. It was queer, but it was, I don't know, for one page. So yeah, it was fine. I did give it 4 stars at the time. I enjoyed it. Now, clearly, I can't remember that much about it, and you know, it was nothing special. So I probably would put it down to 3 stars. But, yeah, it was intriguing and I wanted to know what happened. So, yeah, it was a good start to the month. And then I read We Contain Multitudes by Sarah Henstra. Now, this has appeared on an unhaul and I saved it because it's letters. If you've been here a while, you know I love a book with a letter in. I can't help it. It's my kryptonite. I love it. Well, this is the story of, oh my God, Joe and Curl, who get signed a class assignment to write letters to each other, and it carries on, and they fall in love. I didn't love this. Turns out, a letter on every page. It's a lot of letters, guys. It's a lot of letters. I couldn't quite handle it. Oh, I just scratched myself. Oh, my mustache. I think it doesn't work, actually, because where they're writing to each other, they're writing things that they've already witnessed. Like, they literally have to say at some points, but you know that because you were there. And it's like, well, yeah, you're actually having to, the author's having to put that in there. A horse is walking past my window. The author's having to put that in there to fill me in, the reader. So it doesn't really make sense. And there was also a time when she cut off the letter to give suspense to the reader, but then he replies the next page with the letter and says, why did you cut it there? You know, I know what happened. And I think, yeah, how stupid. It was stupid. I liked that it was like a slow get together for them. I liked that it dealt with some sort of deeper issues that were, I felt were dealt with quite well, and it was quite hard to read. And I hated the way they got together. Oh, it was awful. It was like cringy. I didn't like that. No, so, you know, it will be going on the unhaul. I should have trusted myself first, shouldn't I? I should have trusted myself. But it was a quick read, and the letters made it a quick read. But I just don't think it works as a whole. I don't think it really made narrative sense, or, you know, it felt like she was having to sort of trick the reader to keep you interested in the format, which it's not fun. Then I read The Plains by Federico Falco, translated by Jennifer Croft. This was kindly sent to me by Charco Press, and it is out now. I did enjoy this one, but I read these two so quickly, and this sort of slowed me down a little bit. It's about a man who has broken up with his boyfriend. Well, the boyfriend broke up with him sort of unexpectedly, not what he wanted, and he moves to this sort of small town in Spain, and he's there, and he grows a farm. He lives sustainably for a year, and the points when he was talking about his relationship and his heartbreak was really beautiful, and I enjoyed those bits. But a lot of the other time, it was just about gardening. It was just about gardening. He'd be like, yeah, I'm having to, you know, sow my hoe, or is that gardening speak? He's like, you know, I'm having to pick up the weeds because, you know, they're getting close to my peas. And I was like, what? Like, I had to read a lot about gardening. So, Federico Falco is a poet. I think you can tell that by his writing. It was really lyrical, and it was quite beautiful. And like I said, he really sort of delved into the heartbreak, which I really enjoyed. But it really was a lot about gardening. Like, I just opened it up, digging, loosening the topsoil, pulling weeds, creating furrows, shoving wheelbarrows of earth from one place to another, looking for branches to protect what's been planted, putting up nets, going out into the cane field to cut canes, watering, swinging the hose back and forth, loosening the topsoil again, digging again, creating another bed. All is solved by doing. You know, just say all is solved by doing. You did a bit of garden, you know. But yeah, so it did sort of slow me down. It was sort of told over a year, and I just wanted more about the relationship, I think, than the gardening. Then I read Her Majesty's Royal Coven by Juno Dawson. There is a whole vlog for this, which, again, no one has watched, but I don't expect people to. Maybe it's because it's just one book and it's boring. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a boring boy. Wouldn't be the first time someone's called me that. In this, we follow four witches who... Four witches who are witches, and what do they do? Well, they're sort of all at different stages in their life. One of them runs Her Majesty's Royal Coven, one sort of ignores that she's a witch, and two sort of are taking their own journey through their witchcraft. And it's about sort of them coming together to stop a great evil and what they will do for the greater good. And it's very neon pink, I can see it reflecting. I really enjoyed this. It was sort of a really rollicking ride. It was fun, it was modern, it had twists and it had turns. Like I said, just watch the vlog, because, you know, I did a better job of explaining it in there, trust me. But so glad already on the second one, because it left it on such a cliffhanger that I didn't see coming. I really loved it. It was really good. It was really good. But like I said, watch the vlog. I'll link it down below. Then I had a reread for the month, and I listened to it on audio, and it was Brooklyn by Colm Tobin. Now, this is the story of Aisling, who moves to Brooklyn. She moves to Brooklyn. She leaves Ireland. She moves to Brooklyn to work, and she meets an Italian-American boy, and it's the story of them falling in love. And I know it sounds really, really simple, and it is a simple book. Like, not much, well, other stuff does happen, but it's never gonna, like, you know, it's not full of twists and turns, and I almost want to call it cozy, and it is, but it's so much better than cozy. It's a brilliant book. I might have even given it 5 stars. I can't quite remember. And I read the new version read by Saoirse Ronan, who played the actress in the film, and it was so good. She does such a fantastic job, and it's such a brilliant book. It's so beautifully written. It is so cozy, but I don't want that to take away from anything, because it can be, you know, it's just a novel. It's everything you want from a novel. You love the main character. You root for her. You want her to make her own choices. You all her little problems you feel are big. I just adore this book. And I have the sequel. I have a proof of the sequel that I never read because I wanted to reread it. So I have to read that soon now. I want to see where she is. You just care so deeply for her. And I forgot how it ended, in the sense that, you know, she just goes back, like you never even see her arrive or anything. And you just want more. It's a book that could have been twice as long. I would have loved every page. I loved it. This is such a brilliant book. I loved listening to the audiobook of it. I couldn't stop. I would probably listen to it in like 3 days. I couldn't stop. I loved this book. Then for my non-fiction for the month, I read 300,000 Kisses, Tales of Queer Love from the Ancient World by Sean Hewitt and Luke Edward Hall. Written by Sean Hewitt, illustrated by Luke Edward Hall. It's so, I mean, it was beautiful. It was so interesting. It had some really beautiful poetry. It had some great stories of queer love throughout the world and the ancient world, and, you know, their interpretation of them, and how it wasn't frowned upon and it wasn't judged. It just is what it was. Now, of course, sort of the male relationships in it were not something we would really accept. Well, not accept at all at this time. It was very much sort of slave and owner, or you sort of older man and younger boy. But it's just how it was back then. I'm not saying it's right. It's just how it was. But there were some that weren't like that, and you know, they're really beautiful, and it sort of made me cry. Sort of first couple of stories in. I mean, some were better than others, of course, but yeah, I'm so glad I read this. And again, 24 for 2024. That's 2 of this. That was 3. That was 3, because this was 1 as well. That was thanks to you guys. I appreciate that. So another 3 done this month. I don't know how December's going to go, but another 3 done this month. And then I read The Bee Sting by Paul Murray. Now this, we follow a family, the Barnes family, who are sort of all at a crossroads in their life, and oh well, it's a long book. It was so long. I did get ill while reading this, so it probably made it feel a bit longer, but I didn't love this as much as I thought I was going to. I loved the end, sort of the last 150 pages. I thought I was engaged. It was brilliant. It had pace. It's just such a slow going book. You get to know them so well, and sort of the first sort of 500 pages is they sort of almost get a section each, and I found myself sort of much more engaged in the young boys and the dad's story. Yeah, I didn't love it as much as I thought I was going to. I really didn't. I was quite disappointed in it, actually. And I know a lot of people wanted this one to win the Booker. I wouldn't have agreed with that. I'm very interested to read the Prophet Song now for my Booker Boy prize vlog. Because that's the one that beat this, and I would like to see if I prefer that one. But yeah, I didn't love this. I know people said it was meant to be funny. I didn't find it funny. It was just so long. It was so long, and it's just got revenge because it hit me in the face. But it was so long. Yeah, this really wasn't for me. And then lastly, from my first line battle, I read We Could Be So Good by Cat Sebastian. Now in this we follow Nick and Andy, who work at the same paper, and Andy is set to run the paper when his dad leaves, and Nick is sort of their best reporter, really, and it's about those two forming a friendship, and then it leads to something more. There was a lot I enjoyed about this. Their friendship happened really quickly. They were sort of suddenly sort of best friends, but then you got to sort of ruminate in that, and then when it grew to more, you believed it. It took its time. Even when they started getting it on, it wasn't like full on straight away. Everything built up, and I really liked that. It gave the story time to settle. They were like in their 20s, so it felt more adult. And I mean that in the sense of this was set in 1958, and Nick, who is gay, has known he's gay, has to sort of deal with not getting caught at doing what he's doing. So he has to be careful. He has to sort of, he's essentially going cruising, and he's meeting strangers, and there's no intimacy. It's very much a quick one night thing. And I liked then how the author included that with everything with Andy. So everything with Andy felt special. He couldn't quite wrap his head around it. And I thought that was a really interesting perspective to look at. And, you know, back in 1958, if you got caught, your name would have been in the paper. You would have been fired. Your family would have disowned you. Not everyone, of course, but, you know, his family would have. So I thought that was really, really interesting. But there was sort of like a side plot of them trying to, like, stop the cops. And it just ended so abruptly that I thought, well, it didn't need to be there. Just mainly make it about them. I just felt like it was 375 pages and it was a bit long. It was a little bit long. If you weren't going to sort of follow through with that story enough, then it shouldn't have been in it, you know. But I would read more by Cat Sebastian. It was sometimes a bit difficult to tell what perspective I was reading. Well, not really. Andy had a lot of personality. Nick didn't. Nick sort of didn't. He was just a bit bland. So it was a little bit like, oh, come on. But other than that, it was fine. I enjoyed it. You know, I would give the author another shot. So, you know, what more can you ask for, really? So there we go. There you have it. My reading for the month of November. Not a great month. You know, what did I read last, like 13, 14 books? We're back on sort of an average, aren't we? But, yeah, I sort of enjoyed my reading month. But let's hope December's better. Let's hope. But let me know if you've read any of these. Let me know. Just let me know. Have a chat. You know, it's my favourite thing. Let me know how many books you read. Just have a chat. Let me know. Let me know if you've watched the vlog down below or go comment on the vlog. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe. And I'm going to speak to you all really, really soon.